L'analphabète devenu star. Dans un environnement jadis plongé dans un système socio-idéologique, patriarcal, phallocratique et lamidal. Artisane, plus qu'un métier, c'est une passion pour Sorobaye Martine.
Bengon, Vetroua, là-bas, j'ai amené. Et je crois, ça passait bien quand même, mais tout le monde ne me connaissait pas. Ce sont les gens qui étaient proches de moi, mes voisins, qui savaient que je faisais. Il y a des fois quand je porte le sac, je viens à l'église, là on me voit avec les pelles, on me demande, je dis c'est moi-même qui produis ça.
Sorobaye Martine a plusieurs cordes à son arc. Outre la fabrication des produits d'entretien, elle excelle dans la confection des sacs en perles, chaussures, boucles d'oreilles et pots de fleurs. La fabrication des produits locaux, tels que les savons en morceaux en liquide et le menthol bio, ne représente pas un blocage pour Sorobaye Martine, la lauréate du programme Femmes autonomes et fières des boissons du Cameroun via Beaufort Light traîne toute une histoire.
C'est une de mes collègues femmes passées, elle m'a vu et elle a amené mon nom là-bas à la délégation. Et c'est là que j'ai suivi les enseignements quand Beaufort Light est venu là-bas. On a donné les cours là-bas, j'ai suivi. Et pendant ces cours, on nous a donné, on nous a dit de partir faire quelque chose pour venir présenter quoi. Et comme moi j'avais fait le jour là, j'ai fait un sac comme ça, j'ai amené. Et bon, et quand moi je marche toujours, j'ai mon sac à main, j'avais les savons en liquide. Et le jour là, on a aussi appris le savon en liquide et les mentons. Et tout ça j'avais, et j'ai aussi montré là-bas. Et après que j'ai fait mon sac, j'ai amené, je crois. Moi, je ne savais pas que c'est moi qui devais même gagner le jour là. Je n'avais pas même, comme il y avait beaucoup de femmes, on était plus de 60. Et après, je crois que c'était un 7. La date là, quand même, je n'oublierai jamais. Le 7 mars, et c'est vers 18h, vers 19h qu'on a annoncé mon nom. J'étais très contente. Et je crois, et grâce à ça, maintenant partout, je dis partout dans le Cameroun, mais ce n'est pas ici au nord. Mon nom est toujours partout, on m'appelle pour les formations. Et grâce à cet argent, j'ai commencé d'abord avec une boutique. J'avais une boutique vers le camp chinois. Et j'ai commencé avec, et comme je disais, grâce à Beaufort, même l'église aussi a vu comment je travaille. Et on m'a nommée comme coordinatrice du centre social ici, avec les jeunes filles et les femmes que vous voyez maintenant.
Orpheline. Depuis ses 9 ans, la jeune Sorobaye qui vivait avec ses oncles a dû se marier très jeune, à 17 ans. La flamme de l'entrepreneuriat a été allumée pendant son enfance, lorsqu'elle commence à broder depuis l'école primaire et se découvre une passion pour la décoration. Son cobaye a été la maison de son oncle, qu'elle décorait avec des tissus en pagne et quelques fleurs. Sa deuxième expérience dans l'entrepreneuriat a été la vente des tissus pagnes. Son véritable déclic, dit-elle, remonte à ce fameux jour où elle a suivi le témoignage d'une femme du nom de Françoise Pionnier, communément appelée Mami Nyanga, parlant de son parcours, a fait savoir qu'elle a commencé par la vente des beignets et aujourd'hui, c'est une femme d'affaires incontournable.
Partout, on me prend, même dans les lycées bilingues des Garois ici, je donne les formations des savons, je donne les formations des pelles et des mentons, je crois. Et l'église aussi, notre église est engagement aussi sollicitée. Je crois que j'ai fait plus d'un mois. Le mois de janvier jusqu'à février, j'ai formé à Touboro, à Maïganga et à Garoua-Boulay. J'étais là-bas aussi pour former les femmes et les filles là-bas. Et tout ça grâce à Beaufort qui a fait pour que mon nom soit élargi comme ça.
Les lycées, les églises et les associations sont devenus entre autres des lieux où se recrutent des futurs Sorobaye. La lauréate du programme Femmes autonomes et fières prend du plaisir à partager son savoir-faire par des formations qu'elle offre malgré quelques difficultés.
Quand quelqu'un veut commencer quelque chose, il faut toujours acheter. Quand tu vois une fille même payer le cahier, elle ne peut pas. Tu l'as dit d'acheter le produit. Donc, quand je vois comme ça en tant que mère, donc, il y a des fois, je prends mes produits, je donne. Donc, et c'est pour cela que c'est mes doléances. Si on peut aussi voir si on pouvait aider les filles qui veulent continuer.
Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to this special edition of Prime Hour. It is the 8th of March 2023, a day set aside for the celebration of what the woman has done to this world. Daily Singah is our guest for tonight's special edition for Prime Hour. We are glad to have you once again on Prime Hour Daily, especially on this day set aside to celebrate the woman.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kum. It's always an honor for me to be a part of this platform. I'm very elated, actually. I would say that my joy knows no bounds. Today is 8th of March, and I've been handpicked to talk to the women. I mean, I cannot describe how immense my joy is. I just want to thank you for the crew, and thanking everyone watching me. Hopefully that I am going to speak, not just speak, but minister to the hearts of the people listening to me. So thank you once again.
We are glad for your acceptance to be part of our special edition of Prime Hour. I'll start by reading what the theme for today's edition, or this year's edition of the celebration is. It is talking about for a digital world, innovation and technology, for gender equality. So my first question to you, Deli, is we are talking about a digital age. How do you appreciate the use made by women so far of the existence of information communication technology? How well have mothers and sisters used this innovation? We're talking about information communication technology. What is your appreciation of their use of it so far?
I would say that technology and innovation have it's played a very important role in the social and economic growth globally. However, the woman has significantly been on the lower side of the spectrum, if I can put it like that. So what I'm saying is that it is predominantly a man's world when it comes to tech and innovation. So women have not been known very much to embrace this side of it. I mean, for obvious reasons. And so for the stakeholders who have thought it wise to put together this team that would encourage the woman, the female gender, to also embrace this particular world and shy away from it, and also to, tackle the different hurdles that women face, those who actually venture into it. I think it's quite commendable, and I'm looking forward to the effect and the changes that these would produce. Yeah.
Yes, but now when you say women are not at the forefront of technology, information communication technology, are you saying that they are deprived, or they don't have the capacity to play the front liners?
They do have, of course, they do have. It's a bit tricky, because when you say that they are marginalized or discriminated, it could be true for some organizations, but not true for every other organization out there. Because everyone runs an organization, and whoever is boss, between these conditions, that could be favorable or discriminatory to both genders. You get what I'm saying? So I think that naturally God has made us man and woman, and there are certain jobs that do not favor the female gender. There are some that do not favor the male gender as well. However, when it comes to technology, innovation and technology, I am made to believe, or I am of the school of thought that it has very little to do with physical manpower like that, and to do with a mental capacity. And so when you look at the mental capacity, it is just how well you are willing to explore your mind, to have a mind shift regarding issues, when it comes to technology. So there is partly that discrimination. But like I said, however, the way a man is wired is different from how a woman is wired. So there are so many things that have to do with complexities that is not a given to a woman, but it is to a man. So technology somehow, I would say, is midway, because we have to use more of our minds than our physical strength. So yeah.
We are talking about Yeah, we are talking about technology at the level of conception and creation. But let's talk about technology and its usage. Do you believe, like many other persons, that most of those who find themselves using the social media, because that is where we are going to, the women, and how do you appreciate the way they use it? There are projects. Let me even add to that. There are projects that have been implemented worldwide to facilitate entrepreneurship opportunities online for women and to educate women on various aspects of online selling and helping them establish their ventures. That is the effort. You want more opportunities, you want equality, you want equity. Now, information communication technology provides us with the possibility of using our phones and doing business with persons in the UK and almost everywhere. What are the women, what are they doing with this opportunity presented to them, brought to them, to their kitchens, their rooms, and everywhere?
Like I said, because of our build, we are not meant for complex issues. A woman is not good for complexities, you know. So I would say the hardware side of that to me, is not very friendly to the woman. That's why most men are that side. The woman is more of the laissez-faire side, I would say, of technology. The side of the glitz and glam. The side where you can really relax and do a lot. So which is the media, the social media side you're talking about. But again, there's pros and cons to that. Because we will be looking at it. I don't know if I answered your question, but hey, this team now is to encourage women to step up their game, to go from just using their phone or the digital world or to gossip and do all the business to bigger things. And yeah, I'm here to encourage that as well.
Yes, but from you are an influencer and you see how many Cameroonians are using the social media. Are they using it for business? Are they using it to just insult one another, to sell themselves naked and do some funny stuff? Because here you guys are accusing the men of inequality. This is an opportunity brought to your doorsteps. How well are you pushing for equality in the way the social media is supposed to be used to benefit the society?
Yeah, you mentioned something. I would love to start the conversation a bit back, maybe from the beginning. We have a team which is embracing equality. And this equality, I love this topic and this particular angle that we're looking at things. I don't know, I'm echoing, I'm not sure if it's going on properly. But let me just keep up. So what I'm saying is, the thing is embracing quality, and we're zooming at innovation and technology. Now, embracing equity, rather, I beg your pardon. And like I said, I was particularly impressed by how they've tweaked it a bit, because it's all about equality. And I'm of the school of thought that a man can never be equal to a woman. I'm of that school of thought that we are different and we're unique and we're beautiful. We have different traits, different roles, different responsibilities that God has given us. And trying desperately trying to be equal, and it's a far. It's something that is never going to happen because we're different. When we look at equality or equal, when we talk about being equal, it means sameness. Sameness in size, value, quantity, and all of that. And you and I, Mr. Kum, we're quite different. We are not the same in any aspect. Matter of fact, we are quite different as it is. You are the stronger gender, I am the weaker gender. However, there is beauty in my weakness. And you understand that there is beauty in my weakness. And when I call that weakness, it is not weakness in the negative. It is weakness in the positive. And what do I mean by this? So my femininity is that weakness. It is my vulnerability, and which is beautiful. And that is why God made us to be so. and it's for a purpose. And you are a man, you are strong, your masculinity, and you can bask in it, and God made it for a purpose. So when we try to want to equalize these things, it becomes stupid. Now, when we talk about equality, we're looking more of equality in terms of maybe work, job roles, job opportunities, the salaries that are being paid. We're looking at health. We're looking at education and all of that. So we all have equal opportunities to get into these things. Now, coming now to technology, I said, the female gender, because we are not wired to do very complex tasks. I'm soft. I don't want to do all of this. Not because I've necessarily been discriminated, but because my being, the way I'm wired, is different, and I'm not, like I said, meant to carry a lot of load. That is why you would see more men tilt towards technology, the complex side of it, and women tilting towards, the very, like I said, ostentatious side of it. Now, coming now to equity, which I'm particularly impressed by, I think that we've so talked about equality for a long time, and we've realized that we have not been able to toe the line. Now we've crossed the boundaries, and now we're beginning to feel the heat of the other side of the panel. What do I mean by this? Now, women have so struggled, or let me take that back. We've had a lot of empowerment, which is good, but we've empowered overboard. So we've gone overboard. Now we've tasted the hard side of empowerment, which is the side that the men would do on a regular and not complain about. So, for instance, you taking hard and complex issues when you are not wired to carry all of those things, and then now you understand the load that the men carry, and you realize that it is too much on you. Then now we cry foul. Now we're crying foul that it is too much on us, and we need it to be reduced. So that's why I said equity comes in, because equity doesn't just limit us to wanting equal opportunities or equal resources. It goes a step further to say, I'm looking at your capabilities. I'm looking at how you are wired. I'm looking at your resources. I'm looking at your potentials. I consider all of these, I factor all of these and put together before I place all of you now on scales and expect you to come up with the same outcome. So, for instance, equality on one hand is giving everybody a pair of shoes. So I just come in here and I distribute a pair of shoes. It is equal because we all have a pair of shoes. But you think about it, equity on the other hand says, what is the use of a pair of shoes when I do not fit into it? And then that is where it goes a step further. I'm not just going to give a pair of shoes to you. I'm going to give a pair of shoes that fits you. How about that? You see why I'm excited about this? I think we as the world, the society, and especially my gender, is beginning to come to the realization of the fact that we are not equal. So if anything, for equity, which rather puts, it's a plus on our part, which helps us because it considers our vulnerability, it considers our weaknesses, it considers our strengths, it considers all of the things that we're limited and strong in, and before coming judging the outcome that is expected. So yeah, so this is it. This is what this International Women's Day is all about, and I had to break it down just so that
this is all, yeah, this is what it is all about. But when you look at the previous editions, each edition is celebrated under a theme. Do you see the celebrations tilted towards what the theme actually says? Do you see women working towards the directions given by the theme? Or it is a theme that is just for a formality? We talk about it today and we move on with our lives. And if we are not implementing it, trying to work according to the directives given by the theme, what would account for that?
I think there's no say that do things, and some people don't. They go about ignorantly. Now, and I want to be careful. Not to say that there have been times when I see the team and I know that this is a farce. This is not going to happen. When we insist on equality on some aspects that the woman is disadvantageous on, there is no gainsay that it will not work. So most of these women look at it, for instance, you give them something very cumbersome and ask them to look at it from a point of balance or equality. And they'll be like, well, we can rant and talk about it and raise. At the end of the day, I'm not caught up for this. I'm not caught up for this because I'm not wired to do it. And that's why I said that is one of the major reasons why some of these things at the end of the day, it doesn't see the light of the ninth, if you get what I'm saying. It ends on the 8th. So, like I said, I'm excited because we are beginning to wake up to say we're not going to be equal to men. If any, yeah. Sorry, I had a glitch there. So, if anything, we are saying, can you consider us and step us, if we have to stand on a chair to touch some things that you guys naturally stand on the floor to do, can you do that for us? Can you give us a shoulder to lean on if we have to do it and get the same results that you're expecting? Can you pamper us? Can you hold our hands? Can you support us more? Because we can hardly do it on our own like that. And I'm not disputing the place of a woman, our strengths and all of that. I'm just saying that the man and the woman, they were made together for a purpose, to complement each other, not to compete with each other. And so when these things come, if care is not taken, we will tend to be fighting the very people who are meant to support us and take us to the very top. So yeah, I just had to say that. So this is one of the reasons, or the many reasons, why some of these themes that are put in, year out, don't see the light of the next day.
Yes, but every year you talk about, women are talking about equality, they are fighting for their rights, and a host of others. Who is holding back these opportunities from women? These opportunities are open to everybody. So everywhere you keep saying that we are fighting for our rights, you're fighting against who? Delhi. The women are fighting against who?
Mr. Kum, I want you to understand that it is not everybody or every woman who has that narrative. And then, like I said, I don't know if I'm the best guest that you would have used today. And a lot of women might really be disappointed with the things I say. But again, like I said, it is not every woman who comes from that angle of pity party, who comes from that angle of crime foul, who comes from the angle of blame games. Understand that there are some, I would say, narratives that are toxic and to the disadvantage of the woman. So when you hear of, like I always put it under toxic feminism, when you have these agenda of the toxic feminism out there, going out there, you start hearing concerns like that. Oh, we are fighting for our rights. We are fighting for to be strong and independent. Oh, we are, and all of these things. And then, like I said, at the very end, we start crying foul again that it is too much on us. So exactly when you ask who has taken your rights and all of that, initially, yeah, there were times you and I, if you go down memory lane, a lot of women used to not go to school because they were relegated to the bottom, to the kitchen, to the house. You don't go to school. The male gender, they were the ones who were going to school. A lot of these cries, that some powerful women stood up and say, no, I think it's about time women got together, women also be given these opportunities. But again, like I said, when I call it toxic feminism, I want to insist on the word toxic. That's key word. Just so we know that we understand that I'm not trying to completely bash feminism. Feminism is a good, it's a good concept. It is good. It's good as long as it's done the right way. But I'm talking about the toxic one. So when you embrace it from the toxic angle, guess what? You start having complaints like, oh, you start hearing things like, I'm a strong, independent woman. Independent from who? You're not independent from your boss because you have to go to work and work. You're not independent from your kids because your kids are your everything. You're not independent from your parents and your family. Matter of fact, they are your world. It leaves us with one thing. What are women strong and independent from? It is the male gender. So you see, at the end of the day, we are propagating and pushing narratives that at the end of the day comes back to fight us. And you are right when you ask, who are we fighting against? Who has taken these rights from us? If you look at it critically, it is not just society, it is predominantly the women who have left their own area of calling and gone to rub shoulders with the men in an aspect they don't have a comparative advantage in, if you get what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it is all of these complications that is making us fight and then bringing up topics that don't see the light of the day and all of that. I don't know if I answered your question, but I mean, I'm going to break that down in the course of our conversation. Yeah.
I get you. Now, women want equality, they want equity, but paradoxically, those combating women, Delhi, in their quest for equality and equity, happens to be women. What is the solidarity that exists amongst women from your reading that would suggest that women are working together to overcome, impose themselves to gain equality, equity from the men folk? Do you see women celebrating each other, or rather joining the men to pull down other women? What is the solidarity that exists amongst you guys?
Like I said, Mr. Kum, I might really be the wrong guest for today. And many women would rather not have me on here. And this is the thing about Delhi, because I always come across controversial, but I think I say the things that most people only think about, think about it and they let it sleep. And I dare to talk about them. When we talk about, if you must have heard that a woman's enemy is a woman. And as much as that might sound cliche, in fact, there's an aspect of truth in that. I am of the school of thought that if anything, if we have to fight, if anything, we should rather run to the side of the men, because they are the ones who are strong and been engraced to protect us. Now, when we talk about women empowering women, and encouraging women, it is good theoretically, but practically, who are the women, who are the ones betraying their friends on a regular? Who are the ones maltreating their house helps? Who are the ones sleeping with their friends' husbands? Who are the ones who are, what's the word? There's a word I need to use. We are constantly sexualizing our bodies. For instance, on a day like this, you would see that. Who are those doing that? Is it the men or the women? So like I said, we have to be careful on occasions like these to not miss it. Because as much as we want to empower ourselves, it starts with looking from within. It starts with asking ourselves legit questions. It starts with asking what exactly is the problem and who exactly is the enemy. Otherwise, we keep fighting the men who, for the most part, should rather be holding our hands and pushing us out there. So like I said, we've empowered ourselves to a considerable extent. I know that there are still those, well, not say negligible examples of women. When I say negligible, it could be like, oh no, there's a considerable amount of a number of women out there who are not going to school, who are being, doing all of this and that. I don't want to say that, but I would say that this empowerment has gone on for a long time, to the point where the women have they've picked up space in the universe. Matter of fact, we are doing a lot of things to sit and go around this idea of women are being marginalized, women are not, we'll be lying through our teeth. I think we've rather gone overboard, like I said at the beginning. And so we'd rather start looking from within us and start asking ourselves these things, the issues that you are Is it coming from men or is it coming from the women? So if it's coming from the women, then you and I can look ourselves eyeball to eyeballs and tell ourselves, these are the things we have to work on. And then stop making it feel like, okay, it is a gender war, which is, it is not.
It is
hardly a gender war.
It is not. I want us
it
to...
is
okay.
Issues that are plaguing women that we should be looking at and dealing with. Now, like I said, I do not want to minimize the role of the activism and things that have been the job that women who started all the empowerment they've done. You're looking at female genital mutilation. It is strong women who stood up and said, no, you're not going to do that. This is this. There's considerable level of abuse that is happening, was happening or is still going on in marriages and all of that. However, like I said, when we begin to look at the core of it now, like where have we missed it? Where have we lost it? Have we gone overboard? What are the things we're supposed to do we're not doing? Or what are the things we're not supposed to do that we've done and overly done them that we're supposed to retrace our steps and then, face exactly what is happening to us? Yeah.
Deli, now we are looking at women complaining at the level of society or community where they claim to...
There's no sound. Sorry, I can't hear you.
There's no sound? Please, maybe you may have muted. Just unmute. Can you unmute yourself?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Now, away from our community or society, let's get into marriage or relationship. Many women today are not satisfied and they are in pains, they are confused, and because their answered prayers have not yielded the expected results. Many women today pray for the best guy, the most handsome, caring husband, and the best of all of this. But once in these relationships, most of the women live in pain accordingly. They are sad, they are maltreated according to them. Is it because of this confusion in the notion of the husband should love and the woman should submit, but yet we are talking about equality? We do not know which one comes where and how to contextualize them. Is that where the problem is? Because most relationships today are hitting the rocks.
Well, if I understood, I think that every marriage is unique and different. Every marriage has its own challenges, But on a general, I would say that we have missed out on the basic instruction that God gave man and woman, that's husband and wife. And let me say this, Mr. Kum, marriage is not for everybody. This is the error that most people make, and then we start crying, foul, foul, foul. See, there's some women who are meant to just be single, have no business whatsoever to do with marriage. But now when these kind of women, they graduate themselves into marriage, the result, this is as good as mine. There are some men who are not meant to be married. It is scriptural, what I'm saying. And I always use scripture to back up whatever I'm saying with my African culture, because I think that the African culture is more of a what is the word? It's more of a replay of scripture. There's a word that I need to use. The African culture is more of, I'll get that word, but you get what I'm saying. So I think they mirror each other. If you look at the African culture perfectly, you would see what is happening in scripture typically. And like I said, we miss out on marriage because we have disrupted or rejected the basic instructions that was given to us for marriage. And what is it? Men, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Women, submit to your husband as unto the Lord, period. You see now, every other thing, we want to agree with every other thing but the concept of love and submission. And it's not working. So, you're complaining about all of the things that I said. Every marriage is different. So the things A is complaining is not the same thing is complaining. But when you look at that, and every other thing, usually it boils down to either a man not loving the wife right or a woman not submitting. These are usually the things that plague marriages, and I would love for us to delve deeper in them and see if we can get some solutions from it. Yeah.
Yeah, then when they say a man should love the woman and the woman
That sound has gone off again.
I don't know whether it is at your level, but I'm in the studio here, so I touched nothing.
It's fine now.
It's good now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes. The scripture says that the man should love and the woman should submit. We have so many complaints, millions of them across the globe. I know you receive also so many of them, as well as counselors out here. Women are complaining very, very bitterly about the treatment reserved to them by either their fiancés or their husbands. Where is the problem? How do we love as men and submit as women, following scripture?
I guess we're preaching now.
Yes.
Okay, so I think it boils down to understanding of what these concepts are. So when you do not understand what love is, you can hardly give what you do not have. So you cannot give something you do not understand. You cannot properly, let me say properly, because an attempt to love, do something that is completely urgent. An attempt to submit, completely different something. I'm sorry, it's echoing. I don't know if that could be fixed. Yeah. So in an attempt to love, we're doing something that is completely like that. And in an attempt to submit, we're doing something different. And let me attempt as well to give what I understand by love and submission, and which I think has highly been misunderstood. And that is the main reason why a lot of us are having issues with marriage. First of all, before you get married, it entails that you ask yourself legitimately as a woman, if I can submit to the man I want to get married to. It is not whether I love the man. That's a different thing altogether. You've not been asked to love the man. That's not your calling. That's not your own assignment. You have been asked to submit to him. So you as a woman, as a spinster, having these many suitors in front of you, your goal should be, who amongst these suitors can I submit to?
Okay.
As a man intending to get married to a damsel, your own should be, can I love this woman? Do I love this woman? And let me start with the men. What do I mean by love? As strange and contrary to popular opinion, love is not, well, love can be an adjective, it could be a noun, it could be a verb. But when it comes to this love we're talking about, it is not eros. Understand that there is erotic love, which is the one, the butterflies, the I love you, I can't sleep at night love. It has erotic, the one you feel for the opposite gender. There is the filial love, the one you feel for your family. My mother, I love my father, my siblings, and all of that. And then there is the agape love, which is the unconditional love, which is the love that we're talking about as Christ loved the church, which that is the agape. So we're looking at three different love that is confused in the media and in the society, like, oh, I love her, so what is it? Because I don't go to sleep at night, I think I love her. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about agape, which is the unconditional. And this unconditional love is to be able to protect your wife, I'm writing as I'm speaking, to be able to pastor, I use the word because I want to go with the peace, to be able to pastor her, to be able to provide for her, and to be able to profess for her, profess to her. This is what love is. Because I've realized when my gender talks about, oh, he doesn't love me, they're talking about erotic love. This erotic love which entails being romantic. That's the romance. They're talking about romance. See, these are plus. This is an extra. That a man loves you plus he's romantic is an extra. Now, and this is like dessert. So, but what women look for is the dessert, and they leave the main meal, which is to protect them, to pastor them, to provide for them, and to profess to them. These are the things that constitute love. So you would see a lot of men loving their wives today, protecting them, providing for them, professing to them, pastoring them. When I talk of pastoring, I mean that the leader to lead them. And guess what? They are not happy because he did not buy them flowers, or he's not romantic and all of that. But this man truly loves you as Christ loved the church. Christ did not buy flowers to the church. Christ protected the church. Christ pastored the church. He gave himself to the church. He provided. Meaning, if there's anything, he presents the church blameless. If there's anything, there's no how the enemy can prevail over the church, because Christ is the husband over the church, and he's protecting the church. And that's why he says he's presenting her blameless before God. This is love that the world doesn't understand. When God says, love your wives, this is what is expected. So you as a husband, you go back to your closet and ask yourself, can I protect my wife? So if thieves come now, am I going to send my wife in front and say, oh, you, babe, go and see who is at the door? Or I'm going to brave it and stand. That's why they say, give your life up. When you're protecting your wife, you protect to the extent of even to death. Because as you open the door, it could range from a salutation to a bullet. That is protecting your wife. This is how Christ protected us and died for us. Now, are we saying the men should go and die? No, we're just saying in the course of the protection, anything can happen. And then can I provide for her? And this goes now to the men, asking myself, am I financially stable enough to cater to have a vision, having my capital, a job, a purpose, plus benefits of that can, keyword, that the proceeds of that can take care of myself, a woman, and maybe 2 other kids. Can I do that? This is what love is. It is not butterflies. It is not erotic. Erotic is just an extra, and it goes and it comes. That's why people would celebrate 50 years in marriage. Sometimes there is no affection. Then the next year, boom, they're all lovey-dovey. I think I've belabored that, but just to know that this is what you should preoccupy yourself as a woman to it. And these are the grounds that you can say, my husband doesn't love me if he's not protecting me, not providing for me, not pastoring me, and not professing to me. And maybe any other, the others. I was just putting them under peace, but we can use different synonyms, or different adjectives on that. Then let me come on the side of the woman, which is always, I think, in my opinion, the men really don't have an issue with this. Before a man gets married, especially our African setup, they factor in most of these things. To be honest with you, it is just, and I'll talk about the effeminated man that this toxic feminism has pushed on the men, who are now become so effeminated that they don't see themselves to be the ones to protect. That's why you would see people on social media and out there arguing about who should provide for the family. And I'm asking myself, how did we get here? Our agendas that have been promoted in the media and pushed to the point where somehow the men have been forced to accept these things, and now they're now sitting and saying, okay, women lead. And then we're now carrying too much baggages, we cannot lead, and then boom, we're now saying, please, it's too heavy on us, please reduce it. We are now being marginalized, and I'm saying, I don't want to belong to that. Please. I want to be,
the Bible,
to bask in my femininity. I want to enjoy people, not being interrupted.
The Bible says women should submit. How should they submit?
Exactly. So I was getting there. Submission. Because people mistake submission for respect. And they're 2 different concepts. Yeah, they can go hand in gloves. However, they're different things. Now, let me talk about respect before I get into submissions. Respect is something I can do to you, Mr. Kum. I am bound to respect you. You're bound to respect me, so it's reciprocal. I'm bound to respect my child. My child is bound to respect me. I cannot abuse my friends, abuse my child, abuse even the husband. I have to respect. On a normal, respect is something that we should have, and it's reciprocal. It's something that every one of us should have. Matter of fact, should be a watchword for everybody. But submission goes a step further. As much as I have to respect each and every one out there, you, me, even people I don't have the same vision and values with, ideologies, I am meant to submit only to my husband. And the Bible is clear about that. So it even makes it easier. He said, submit on to your own husband. Meaning I'm not supposed to submit to Mr. Kum because it's not my husband. I'm not supposed to submit to XYZ out there because it's not my husband. I'm supposed to submit to my own husband. So we clear the grounds on that before we get into what submission is. Submission means to submerge. Submission means to go under. Submission means power under control. And so you as a woman and me as a woman who are very powerful and industrious, submission means when I meet a man and we are on the same pedestal as single people, you're expected to be doing all of the empowerment and working your money, empowering yourself as a single woman, you're going to be doing that.
Okay.
And I made it clear at the beginning that it's not every woman that is meant to be married. You have no business being married if you don't understand this concept that I'm explaining.
Okay.
And when I meet a man, this is a man, the woman, happens with marriage, I have to take over every one empowerment that has been given to me and get down. So this is what I do. I get down while the man is up. I am not getting down because I am not strong or I am not empowered. I'm getting down because it is a command that I am going to be under him and he's going to be on top, regardless of how empowered I am. And that's why I said, before I am getting married to whoever, I have to ask myself, can I submit to him? And this submission is not oh, I love him, I cannot go to sleep at night. No. What is his vision? What is this man doing that I can literally say, okay, I can let him lead, pastor me, lead me, provide for me, protect me? What he's doing, can he protect me? Can he provide for me? Can he pastor me? Can he lead me? These are the questions you should be asking. And if the answer is yes, I can now go down and say, my king, my Lord, lead me. But the problem is, we carry erotic love and we blind ourselves with it. And you cannot go down under somebody whose vision you cannot relate with. So you have seen him and butterflies and every other thing has messed up with your mindset. And you have said, yes, I do to him. Meanwhile, he is a rope. Maybe he's doing one of these jobs that doesn't tie with your values. But because money, maybe sex and every other thing has blinded and clouded your judgment, now you find yourself in a marriage where you cannot submit to the man. Why? Because he doesn't have a vision for you to submit to. Now, when I was talking about submission, understand that submission means going under. It means when you have decided to go under, it's like a seed. I use this example. I'm actually writing a book, and this is the perfect example I use. When you have a seed is beautiful. You can plant that seed, Mr. Kum. You can take the seed and you plant it in the soil. When you plant that seed in the soil, that is what is meant by submission. So I get into the soil. Every one of that seed is beautiful, but I get into that soil. I have to die in that soil to produce something beautiful. This is what submission is. When I bend down for my husband to lead, I am dead to self. But the aftermath of that, or the repercussions, or the consequence of that, or the results of that is, I echo louder in the world because something beautiful has come out of it. So the more you submit to a husband, that you truly submit to his, the more your voice is amplified. No, the more results come out, the more beautiful you are, the more empowered you are. So society doesn't understand this concept because they think that I submit and it is slavery. No, you submit and it comes out better. When you plant a seed of grain, what comes out? At least a comb of it.
Okay. Delhi.
So I think that for us to digest. Yeah.
I want to get this. Somebody says that this lady is something else. Please, Mr. Kum, I'll need to get her number so that she can talk to the women of my church. This is what it reads. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm called Pastor Menugu. Please, I need the contact of your guest. She's exceptionally wonderful. I need her to speak to the women of my church. Should I send your number to Pastor Delhi?
Yeah, I don't mind. You can send my number. However, let them know I'm not in Cameroon, because most people assume when they see me on TV, they think I'm in Cameroon. I'm in the UK. So if I have to speak to the women, it means it's going to be a conference and it's going to be digitally done, just so we know. So yeah, I'm very okay with that. You know, and yeah, again, you can also get me on. I hope that my media handles will put up, just so you can put me on there.
Okay.
Delhi's county services or Delhi.
Okay, so Pastor, if you need Delhi to talk to the members of your church, especially the ladies, you need to organize something, a conference where she would talk to them digitally. Delhi, now let's look at the value that has been placed on women, Cameroonian women so far. How, according to your rating, our women are valued? How much value do they themselves accord to who they are?
Going by who valuing a woman, I would say that there's no value you can attach to a woman that is enough.
Okay.
That goes both ways to a human being. Women, men alike are invaluable, meaning that we are too much. So God made this perfection of a woman and perfection of a man for a purpose. So you cannot quantify us. More like we're immeasurable. We are ageless, we're priceless, and we are all of this. So this is how beautiful. And a woman, to me, is the nurturer, the nourisher, the incubator, society builder. We are all of these beautiful adjectives you can describe us. So I think we're immeasurable. However, and there's a however, because we have lost touch of who we are. I personally think it's not limited to Cameroonian women. I'm talking to Africans and the world at large. Women, we've lost consciousness and touch of who we are. We've lost value, like we've devalued ourselves by the things we're running after. So the place and the position and our uniqueness that God has given us to bask in, we've left it, and we're rather looking at what the men are doing. And it's all of these things that have devalued us. Not that in ourselves as women, we could even be priced. We are priceless. So yes, and this is not a general thing. It is individuals. Some women have gone, like you start hearing terms like high value women, low value women. Why is that distinction? Because not everybody is on the same pedestal. There's some people who have decided, you know what, I'm going to add value to myself. I'm going to empower myself to a considerable extent. I'm going to do all of these. There are other women who have sat and said, you know what, good riddance to bad rubbish. I don't 1 franc on what people talk about. I'm going to live how I want, and then by so doing devalue themselves on a daily. And yes, so we cannot put the price tag on every woman, like stamp it like bam, this is how much women are valued, because like I said, this is quite subjective and relative. But again, women are immeasurable and invaluable. Right?
Yeah, but how do African Cameroonian women see themselves? Do they not see themselves as wanting to look like more fulfilled when they look like Brazilians, maybe look like Europeans, look like other people from other continents, when they themselves are looked upon like the Bible, you were talking about the Bible some minutes ago. The Bible says that we are all created in the image of God. Do we know how valuable we are, like you are claiming, when we literally want to look like others?
I think I've been on this platform many a times, and I've spoken about westernization that has eaten deep in the African woman, and we have mistaken westernization for modernization. And I hit hard on this, and this is one of the things I talk in the media about your Africanness. So like I said, this is not a Cameroonian thing, because matter of fact, it's even predominant in more other African countries. And if I say in other countries and I list the country, it's going to be another uproar in the media. So, but hey, you get the memo. So what I'm saying is that the woman, especially the black woman, we've lost consciousness of our very being, the essence of us, our being, our very own being, our melanin, our kinky hair, our beauty. We have lost it. We've lost touch because, like I said, they've projected and it's like I said, it's a deliberate act, and it's debatable if it's deliberate or these people are just living their lives and we're copying it. They are recolonizing us. We are literally still being colonized, this time around mentally. I said that in the last time. And it affects, for the greater part, the women. Because it's the woman who wants to be like the white. We are the ones who are changing our complexion to be like the white woman. We are the ones who are changing our hair, wearing long, ridiculous Brazilian hairs every day to look like the white woman. And these people who don't even care to look like us, like I always say, you will never see a white woman struggling to tan themselves to be black. You will never. You will never see a white woman wearing kinky hair to want to change their hair to go and be kinky. We are the most curvy and most beautiful race out there, and I mean no cap on this. The black skin is the most tenacious, that I would say, but we are constantly trying to break that skin and become different. Why? Because mental slavery. They've taught us that we are not as beautiful, unrealistic beauty standards that have been put on us. And like I always say, they laugh at us. Oh, they do laugh at us. I've got white friends and other race. These different races, they look at us and ask, why don't you people wear your hair? Why don't you people wear your own kind of wigs that are tailored towards your needs? Why, if you want to wear an afro, wear an afro. That wig is an afro wig that looks like you, an African woman. Why are you wearing something that is not you? And for the most part, it's another person's hair that has been cut and then we're using. And they will not do that. Turn the tables. A white woman will never use your hair. If they're using anything, it's even your wigs, and it is for educational purposes or strictly for some particular events or a very negligible percentage that we cannot bank on. So what am I saying? These are the different things coupled with the narrative that has been pushed in the media, and then Africans desperately trying to copy the white man's own values, discarding theirs, that has devalued us. And these people laugh at us. Why? Because they know that the black woman in herself, in her glory, is top. Guess what? When you now change all of what you have, which is your authentic self, and look like a zombie version of them, your life is laughable. So this is the devaluing we're talking about. It is no other person but us. But hey, it is subtle because, like I said, it's mental slavery that has been subtly sold to us, and we've bought it. And unfortunately, it has affected especially the female gender. And this is my cry, especially in the media, that somehow, someday, women will begin to embrace themselves completely and, not pass it down to the next generation. Because my major issue, like I always say, Mr. Kum, is not for this dispensation. It is really for posterity, for the children we're raising, for them to become the real, who they truly are. to bask in what their real nature and what God has called them to be. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's it. Mbibe Crispo in Bamenda, that lady is an iron lady. I was not really serious in following her page, but I will. Congratulations to my media prime. Just let her know she was the right guest for today. And please try to rebroadcast that particular program as many times as possible. The right audience are serious in bars now, please. Okay, I'll make sure that I do that. Delhi, you getting the message? I'll take a few of them and then we continue with our program for tonight. Just keep the messages coming. I'll read them out to Delhi this evening. The lady is saying the truth that could help women. Wonderful and enlightening. I hope other women will understand her. That's the definition of true love, agape. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Okay, good evening to you. Wow, she said it. The problem we face in marriage is that many of us rush into marriage without knowing what marriage is all about. Mr. Agbo Jovens is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I think that guest is so wonderful. She is an icon in the society. She can add values to confused women in relationships. Kudos to her. I need to get her contact as well. Stefan Dionga is writing from Pendamboko. Good evening, Mr. Leo. This is Edwin Shea writing from Bamenda. A great thumb up to your program. You are really God sent with your programs. This woman is really impactful. Okay, you want to say filled with so much. My regards to her, Mr. Leo. Okay, good evening, Mr. Leo. Your guest is really something else. Please, can it be possible for me to get a number? I need her advice. Delhi, I know I hope that you are endorsing that I give your number to them, but you are raising a very serious issue. We are looking forward to positioning the African woman, giving her her due value. Is it ignorance, or is it also you guys of the social media with this flamboyant lifestyle, flashy lifestyle that is also pricking most African women not to want to identify with who they are and wanting to look like what you guys project from out there?
Mr. Cook, I would say that, first of all, thank you to the audience. Thank you. I mean, it's an honor, and like I said at the beginning, I'm hoping to not just speak but minister to a lot of people out there, and yeah. So thank you so much for the messages and the encouragement. I mean, it's quite encouraging. I think for the most part, Mr. Kum, it's ignorance. It's ignorance that makes you change your skin color to want to be like another race altogether. It is ignorance that makes you discard your values. Like I said, when it comes to raising kids and marriage and relationship, Africa has the X factor. But they don't know that. And when you're ignorant about something, my people perish for lack of knowledge. They don't know what they've got. If you stay there wherever you are, Mr. Kum, and there's gold underneath you, and you don't know that, you would die, unfortunately, unwell. And so this is exactly what is happening to the African woman, Africans at large, okay? Because, like I said, we're having effeminate men right now, men who are bought into this feminism, toxic feminism agenda and spearheading it. You see, a man will sit and say, yes, it's okay for me to stay at home and be taken care of. Please let me not get into that, because I always get offended with that. But let me say this. If, we understand, if the education is done, but most of you, like somebody has said there, I never used to be keen on her, following her on social media, but now I listen. Most people don't listen, Mr. Kum. They don't. I sit in the media every day and I propagate these things and I talk about it. Matter of fact, I've been an influencer in the media for a little over 5 years now and counting. And I've literally been repeating myself. They come, they listen, they don't take it. Some don't even listen. Some listen, they don't hear what you're saying. And some don't even believe. And again, the negative side of technology, the media, all of these things. And intentionally put pushing this narrative, this agenda, unrealistic expectation on women. I made mention that African women are the most beautiful, we are the most curvy women. Oh, we have the right things on the face, on our bodies. Matter of fact, the other women envy us. But guess what? There is such a thing as BBL now. Every woman wants to go and further add a backside that is already there, that we have in abundance more than these people. If you see a Chinese woman walking, there's nothing in front and nothing behind. But guess what? She is basking in her femininity. She is so confident in her jeans and her t-shirt that she's wearing, and she's doing whatever because she is not so concerned about all of these superficial things. She is bothered about what she carries within. Now, it is the lack of content in you that makes you want to be so adorned outwardly. And I always say this, when you see people too bothered about their physical well-being, my Brazilian hair should be 350,000 francs, my nails should be spot on, this week I have to change this outfit, I have to wear designers. It's a dysfunction inside of you. And I say this and I'm being bashed in the media, but I hope that the young women and even the young men, because my platform is open, it's not gender biased. Matter of fact, I speak to both, everybody listening who cares to listen. And I hope that they understand these things so that they can pass or inculcate these things in their children. Otherwise, we are a disaster about to happen. And unfortunately, it's so eaten deep, like the canker worm that has eaten deep in us, that it's going to take 1 million of such voices to put it on. But I will say that this is purpose, so I can bask in my purpose and be proud of my purpose and my calling. They say it's going to take a lot more than just my calling, and a lot more people who understand and who buy this narrative and who are intentional at propagating this narrative in the media to really effectuate the needed change. Otherwise, like I said, it's a disaster about to happen.
Okay, disaster about to happen. Now, how do we get the African woman take their rightful position at the level of the village setting, community, divisional, and regional level? Almost everybody is advocating for gender equality at the political level and almost everything. We keep crying. But how do we take those practical steps to get ourselves imposed? Because even if gender equality were to be made a policy, if we are not qualified, if we are not, we have not acquired the required skills, we are not able to deliver, those positions are going to be wasted.
You've answered part of my question.
Yeah.
And I'm saying something.
Yes.
When these doors are open, I remember back in school, you had the option to read sciences or arts. It was not imposed on anybody. You would go to the side where you're doing best or better, at least. So it wasn't imposed. Nobody said, oh, you're going to, except for some of our parents who wanted us to be medical doctors anyways. But I'm saying that you answered part of it because it requires skills. It requires, considerably, at least to attain or to be able to function properly in some of these different, places. Now, let me take it chronologically. We are going to need media people like Mr. Kum and my Media Prime, houses like that. We're going to need pastors who are intentional. Because nowadays, I use the word intentional all the time, and I'm talking about the undiluted word of God. Understand? Because it's a lot of junk going on now. So when you talk about pastors, there's a lot of pastors who are preaching gibberish. And excuse my French. Seriously. So I'm talking about people who are intentional at preaching the undiluted word of God. That's for pastors. I'm talking about parents who are intentional about parenting using the right biblical principles and African values. These are the people who are part of this conversation. I'm talking about men and women who are intentional about their purpose, who want to discover themselves, their purpose. So it's not just, oh, they should open doors for us to get in. Can you fit in there? But when you discover your purpose, which is something I talk about in the media as well, when you discover, you realize that it's not everything that fits me. Not every open door is meant for me to get into. Not every opportunity is for me. Not every friendship is mine. Not every association is meant for me. Not every business deal is mine. Purpose. So when we start going, take it chronologically, having all of these people on strategic places, being intentional at it, and then we, man and woman alike, I hate to really talk to one side, or talk to the man and talk to the woman. However, like I said, it's affecting my gender more, and there's no gainsay about that. Purpose discovery, financial empowerment. When you discover your purpose, what it entails, knowing why you are here on earth. Financial empowerment, have an income generating activity or idea or product. Next one, self-educate yourself. That is the reason why we're talking about the media age, technology and innovation. Women, don't use social media to gossip, going from one comment section to the other. Get on Google, type what you want to know, self-educate yourself. You and I, Mr. Kum, you can attest to the fact that most of the things you and I read in school, we're barely even using them. What is working now is things you never studied in school, and you can self-educate yourself. You can get on the internet, you can get on YouTube and type, how can I cook what I cannot cook? And it comes out and you learn it. And keyword, intentionality. So when you do that, self-awareness, be conscious of your strengths and your weaknesses. That's why I said earlier, it is not everything that is meant for you. And this goes especially for the women. Now, while we advocate for these rights, while we advocate for equality in health, all of these, understand, for instance, that you can still get equity is of the essence, because you can still get a job as the man. You are saying, I want to get this job as the man. But when pregnancy shows up, which is not a given to the man, you will now start looking for equity, because you will be the one to start talking about mood swings and pregnancy and all of this. So be careful what we advocate for without balance, the proper balance. This is what I'm trying to get across to the women. And there's no better day than 8th of March. That you should understand that there is danger in wanting to be equal to a man in everything. But even with these things that we list out, understand that we still have a disadvantage based on how we are wired. So when we get there, we should be able to balance all of these things and then stay feminine. There is no how. There is no... See, the most beautiful woman is the feminine woman. When a woman leaves her femininity and gets into a masculine zone, it becomes repelling to a man. You become... The man sees you as another man. That's why you say self-independent and all of that, and it's a difficult world to be in, because the man's world is already, first of all, difficult. Now we're testing it and realizing that it wasn't as easy. We thought, you know what, the woman is carrying too many things, but like I said, if we see sometimes women, some of these agendas we're trying to propagate, sometimes it entails for us to just study the men. And I think that's one of the things women should do. Just study who a man is, understanding who he is and all of what he has to carry. Then we'll realize that our own load is lighter. When I see women saying that, oh, women have a lot to do, which is, yes, is true, a lot to do, but not as compared to the men. Because if they say 50-50, like we want it, equality in this, we have to, the men build this world we are living in. The men carve the roads. These are not jobs women can do. Whatever you're saying a man can do, a woman can. I am not part of that. Please, I am too soft. I need to be pampered. I beg. There's some jobs I don't want to be doing. I need help. I'm vulnerable. And it is me being feminine enough to admit that I need a man. Not that a man is my problem. A man is the no. And if we begin to understand this, it is going to be a much more safe place for us to live in and curb a lot of these excesses of fighting on bringing agendas that don't see the light of the next day. So this is it. Your most beautiful form is insist on that. The more you become masculine, the more repelling you are to a man. And that is why I always say, very powerful, strong women, as long as you cannot submit, you repel, you're just pushing the man out there. And it accounts for the reason why the men go in for the softer gender. So regardless of how powerful, I'm not saying you don't, I'm an educated woman, I'm empowered in every meaning of that word. But this only means I should understand that when it comes to a man, that man who leads me, I am under, regardless of my strength and all of what I represent. And I hope that the message goes.
Good evening, Mr. Kum, a great lady speaking so much sense. We need more of her on this topic and possibly more or rebroadcast this program more times. I would like to connect with her. Please let me have her number. Ben is writing from Boya. Ben, I'll send you Deli's number. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I'm blessing from Bamenda. I would love to have that lady's contact so she can help talk to our women's group in church. Okay, thank you. Paul writing says, good evening, Mr. Liu. This woman is wonderful and she is a blessing to the society. Please connect me to her. Paul is writing from Yaoundé. Very wonderful woman. I really love that you pay a trip here in Cameroon. Daily, they want you in Cameroon and sensitize some of these our women. Kimbi is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Liu. More grace, Mommy Deli. You are saying a lot today. More grace, okay? God is wonderful bringing this lady to us. God bless her 25 hours a day. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Toxic feminism destroyed womanhood. Very little of womanhood is left, and this lady is trying to save it. Thank you, Deli. Okay, I heard about her, and I'm pleased to see her on a day like this. Okay. I'm moved to see a media personality take up a social person's to correct according to God's will, okay? Good evening, Mr. Liu. The program is educative. I'm learning a lot from it. Kelly is writing from Kumba. Hello, Mr. Kum. Thanks for the program and congratulations to the kind of guest you have for us today. May God bless her, open the minds of our women to realize who they truly are and to bring out the virtue in them. Kum Kennedy writing from Abongbang. That's from the East region. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks for bringing Mommy Deli to the show today. I'm learning a lot from her powerful words of wisdom. I wish we could be having her more often. More grace to my media prime. Happy Women's Day, Mr. Kum. Equally send that woman's number. Thanks. Emmanuel Jum is writing from Bamenda. Now, look at the way this day is celebrated across Africa, Cameroon in particular. Are you appreciative of the way we are celebrating it? Do you have the impression that our sisters, who I'm sure for the most part are now dancing in bars, they went marching, they went eating fish, do we really know what we are celebrating as the International Day of the Woman? Would you have loved to see it celebrated differently?
Okay, before I answer that question, I want to thank those of you who keep on sending the positive messages because it's quite encouraging. And I equally want to appeal to those of you watching me, and if you follow me on social media, please take a screenshot of your TV and do a post on social media and tag me on it, okay? Let's make this message go viral, because that's the most I can ask, okay? That's the least, rather, that I can ask for. And so, yeah, take a screenshot of this. Don't tell me, oh, I got to watch when you were ready. So, yeah. Okay, sorry about that, Mr. Kum. I had to sell myself for a bit there. Okay, coming back to your question. Am I okay with how this day is celebrated? I mean, based on how it's always been, I was hoping, fingers crossed, that it was going to be better this time around. But of course, there's no gainsay that we would always have these excesses. Now, first of all, not understanding what we are celebrating, like I said, the ignorance, people not understanding exactly what is being celebrated, accounts for this mess that is going on out there right now. So what is today? I reiterate, today has been chosen, 8th of March, every year, as that day where the world celebrates the woman. So the 8th of March is World International Women's Day, which celebrates the cultural, social, political, economic, and otherwise achievements of women worldwide. And now we take it a step further to say that women go, apart from celebrating their achievement, they're clamoring for gender equality in some aspects. And now we've stepped it further to equity, which I'm particularly impressed by. Like I said, kudos to those who actually sat and taught equality is not working. It's rather a disservice to the female gender, and for the most part. Now, those who don't understand this gibberish that I've just said, they're doing their own thing. The thing is that therefore, like we call it in Cameroon, soulever le kaba. And then it says soulever le kaba means that we sexualize ourselves. We sexually objectify ourselves. And when we do that, we cry foul the next minute. There are unscrupulous men out there who don't understand this gibberish you and I sit here and talk about. The most they're doing, or the least, is take advantage of what they see. When you put yourself in a position where you're vulnerable like that, and these unscrupulous men, because because there are men who support us and all of these, like you, Mr. Kum, you're here giving a platform for me to talk, you're supporting me. How else can you support me? How else can you push us out there? Now you're giving this, and of course your female staff out there, this opportunity for their voices to be heard. But there are other men, on the other hand, who are like I describe unscrupulous, who don't understand all of this, and who are looking for the slightest opportunity to grab. When they see you like that, drunk, do you really think they will cover you up? Do you really think they are going to pamper you? Do you think they will not take out their phones and snap you and put in the media and make a mockery of you? I said it starts from within. It starts from us. Asking ourselves legit questions. Like if you don't value your nudity, you don't expect another person to value. So literally what we're doing is we're sending ourselves out there, pushing ourselves out there, exposing ourselves and expecting now these people to cover it for us. Nobody can love you more than you love yourself. It's logical, right? That nobody loves you more than you. Nobody can care for you more than you. It starts with self-awareness, consciousness, understanding who you are, loving yourself first before expecting it from another person or before even trying to give. There are people out there who don't even know what love is, don't understand what it means. And you think you want to leave your integrity, the better part of your life, the most priceless part of your body in the hands of hoodlums. You see, these are the things that baffle me. And then the next minute, we carry placards. Nobody should touch a woman's body. Nobody should touch a woman's body. And that's why, like I said, they always bash me in the media because I don't buy these things. It starts with how much of preservation do you as a woman have for your body? How jealously do you guard your body? It is the standard you put that people will follow. You don't walk around naked and expect people to close their eyes. They will look at it. Especially the crazy men we have out there now. And now, is this a pass for them? No. There's no gainsay that there will always be this kind of people. Just like as much as Delhi is talking in the media, there's still people going and doing whatever they're doing. It's the same thing. I will sit here and tell the men, please, when you see these women, cover them up. When you see them, because that's the same thing to do. A woman's body is delicate. The woman should know her body is delicate because she lives with it more than a man, before a man knows that. So how do you expect more from a man over something that is in your keeping? Isn't this logical? Now, these are conversations, like I said, that women don't want to listen to. So when I talk to the women and say, dress properly, first of all, for you, not because, oh, I am necessarily trying to protect myself from anyone. It is first of all for you. Then to factor these many crazy people out there. When you drink responsibly. You go and you drink and you get drunk and you expect that one person way down the swath, I talk this in of a pigeon, way down the swath out there, we can't take advantage of you. We cannot sweep these things under the carpet and pretend like they don't exist. They do. So it starts with you. It starts with me taking responsibility for myself. It starts with me setting the standard before the world will treat me accordingly. Otherwise, I'm just a clanging cymbal, the Bible describes. I'm a noisemaker because I am teaching virtue and practicing vice, or I am literally just waiting for people to do what I am not capable of doing. This is what is happening on Women's Day. So when you see all of this, now they're doing all of this, the aftermath is tomorrow. I'm on social media, I have one of the biggest platforms out there. Trust me, I will put the exceptional cases and you will read. And for the most part, it is always so sad that when the women now come to me, they expect me to play pity party with them. They play the victim. And this is what we now want to propagate and start calling violence against the woman and all of this. And that is, we're looking at the consequences of things that are happening and not looking at the root cause. Now, is it right to touch a woman out of her consent? Categorically, no. However, is that a consequence of an action or it is the cause itself? Let us be honest with these things. This is my own cry for the women, that if we can begin to tackle things from the causes of it and not look at superficial consequences and say, oh, this is because of this and this and that, because when you start trimming those leaves, it will still sprout. But when you tackle it from the roots, it is going to die. And this is my message to the women on Women's Day. So I hope that it sings to them, and as they celebrate, some of them are listening to me, it's going to make a difference this time around.
We hope it's going to make a difference this time around. Let me take some of the messages pouring in from those watching Delhi. This one says, good evening, Mr. Leo. You are indeed a blessing to this generation. You are very international in the things you source for your target population. God bless you and give you more grace. My sister on set is Wanda. I'm blessed to follow her tonight. I'll be pleased to have her number. Thanks. Jean is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Karin from Bamenda. Thank you so much. I have just learned so much from this virtuous woman. Thank you, Karin. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Greetings to Delhi. Just in confirmation of what she is saying, please read this quote of mine. This is Mrs. Asanji writing from Bamenda, the counselor. She says, a woman cannot do what a man can do. A woman can do what she has been created and wired to do. She must be excellent than the man in those things because God gave her the ability to do it. Good evening to you, Mrs. Asanji Yvette, watching live from Bamenda. We hope the Prime R baby is doing well as the Prime R husband. Greet them for us. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm so happy with the program of today and God send lady to talk to young ladies out there. God bless you all and more programs like this. Please, I would like to have her number. It's Levis writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Happy Women's Day to Mommy Delhi. She is a role model. I hate when people always misunderstand her on social media space. She has a lot to offer. Hello, Mr. Leo. Thanks for bringing this formidable lady on board. This woman has the right mindset. Our African women need to grow. On a day like this, our women are chasing shadows instead of listening to enriching messages like this. Terence is writing from Gaundal. Thank you, Mr. Leo, for bringing this lady on board. I've learned a lot from her input, and I'm sure many people are benefiting too. She is, in fact, a blessing to the woman folk. I would like to get her contact, please. Mr. Kum, you have a woman of substance as guest. I just wish African women would learn from what she is saying. What we have lost our worth as African women. Delhi is saying so. Delhi, how do we catch up from where we are today? This viewer thinks that our women have lost it all. I remember I had a conversation with a lady who came from Africa, from the United States. She came to work in Boya, and in that conversation, she was taken aback because she told me that, Leo, what we are rushing to see, discover in Cameroon, we are perplexed that Cameroonians are rushing to be like us in the US. So when we come, at times we are disappointed because what is attracting us to get to Africa, seemingly Africans don't see it.
Yeah, that's that. They say the irony, sir. It's the irony. I want to salute Mrs. Asanji Yvette. Hi, sister. Thank you so much for the encouragement. I got your message, man. And thank you so much, man. It's, you know how it is in the media, and we're trying our best. We can only try and leave the rest for God. I thank you for the support, and yeah, God bless. Happy Women's Day. And yeah, talking about the irony, I said, I live in this part of the world, and I had to wake up. Because when I talk like this, people will be like, oh, you too used to do this, because that's always the pretext to run away from the messages. And like I said, I use myself as a guinea pig in my talks. You see, it was a wake-up call for me. I sat and I asked myself questions of identity. Ask myself where I'm coming from. Who am I? What am I here for? Where am I coming from? Whose am I? What am I here to do? When am I to be doing that? Why am I different from these other women I see? Why? I asked those questions, and then the Holy Spirit began to speak to me and started telling me that all of these things, all these Brazilian, most of the young girls listen to me, I always tell them, you cannot buy Brazilian hair more than me. Don't stress yourself. And I can afford it. Comfortably so. So this is not somebody talking to you who cannot afford it before you say, poor man, say Guinness bitter, because I know I'm fine. I'm talking from an empowered position. But to understand that I know how to cut these excesses and to know where to draw the line. So am I saying you should not look beautiful and stylish? No, I didn't say so. Am I saying that you cannot, test a lot of these other cultures? I'm not saying so. What I'm saying is, how well do you know yours and appreciate it? And hold it like it's an endangered species, that it is about to get extinct. Like let's catch it, let's hold it. How intentional are we about it? Do you know how rich and valuable our values and our cultures are? When I talk about culture in the media, the next time I'm coming here, obviously, for those who have watched me, you must have heard me propagating our cultural identity. I was talking about living in this part of the world where every one of these women are in tune with their culture. They're not bothered about you because they have their own culture to protect. They don't have to dress like I'm dressing because it is not part of their culture. They have theirs. And they are okay doing it. Why am I struggling to be like them? And do you know that they, like I said, there are lots of things that we still have. We have the X factor. Africa still has the X factor with a lot of things. It's just that we don't know. Secondly, we know and we don't value it. So when it happened, I started asking myself, why are these other women so confident? You know, this thing they talk about confidence, a lot of black women will say, oh, they are confident. To them, it is when, oh, they are all adorned with these fake things. And then they come out and say they are confident. It's not what is really coming from inside of them. You start having a conversation with them, you realize that they are really empty. Not all of them, of course, there are loads of awesome women out there doing wonders. I'm just saying, especially for the ones who are very noisy, especially in the media, they're very empty. Engage in a conversation with them and see how empty they are. Then you understand why they say empty vessels make the loudest noise. So this is it. And I asked myself, then I saw how when a white woman meets me and I'm dressed in my regalia, she appreciates my beads differently. She's like, oh my God, where's this fabric from? I like how this is done. Oh my God, what's this? And I find it beautiful now that I've embraced my cultural identity. I find it beautiful explaining to them that, see, we'll get a talk. At Togo, I can talk in pidgin. I can hire that like that. And I'm confident. That's where my confidence comes in. When I'm functioning in my identity, my uniqueness, that I am very conscious they don't have. Because it is what sells is what you have that other people don't have. And that's why their own culture is selling to you. You don't have it, right? That's why it's logical. They are looking for what they don't have. They don't have our beats. They don't have our artifacts. They don't have our food. They don't have our values. They have done all of that, and it's getting, and they're looking for the real deal. And they come to Africa. They're coming to Africa unknown to them. They're meeting people who don't value what they have. And that's why you meet that kind of woman. And the worst part of it, you must have heard Boya. They're talking about Boya. And these girls who are living in New York, in Boya, there's an illusion. I don't know what In fact, it's New York Boya. That they think they have arrived. And this woman, they're just looking at them. That's why we say, like I said, I am not talking as a poor woman. I'm not talking as a woman who's not been empowered. I'm talking about this woman who has all of these things, but has come to the understanding that what sells and what matters most is your uniqueness, your identity, your culture, your purpose, which is unique to you and no other person. And I hope that the black woman especially, like if it's insisting, because like I said, this canker woman is eating deep in us women. I used to be like that. So when I'm talking to you, I'm not talking from a place of perfection. I'm talking as somebody who has failed so many times in these things, argued these same concepts when maybe other women were trying to propagate it, and then came to the realization of the fact that I was the one who was stupid. Now I'm embracing it, and I'm trying to do that due diligence of passing this message to you people, because I'm not just talking out of the blues. I've experienced it. I used to have go to my social, I don't delete my pictures. Go there, you would see a different Delhi from when I started propagating cultural identity to tomorrow. It's been different. I am conscious about my hair now. Not that I will not add extensions, but I add extensions that are tailored towards our Africanness. Extensions that look like an African woman. Not something that I'm looking like I think I'm beautiful when I'm ridiculous. I'm looking at my dressing. I'm looking at my values. If any way I have to add one or two things, it should not overshadow my Africanness. So when I start talking, then tomorrow you hear that, okay, maybe Delhi has worn a dress that is a white, tailored towards white man's shirt. They say, hey, no, it doesn't be African, you woman, why you wear that? And you understand that it is this myopia, this, I don't know, ignorance, to say the least, that people spew out, and you be like, do you listen to what people are saying? Or you just carry? Because these white people, they have a touch of Africa, but it's only a touch. It doesn't outshadow them. It doesn't cover their white manness, if there's such a word like that. So you understand where we draw the line. And this is where I bring in CY International. That's my brother. He has been propagating the 80-20 concept. And Mr. Leo, permit me say this for a bit. And when we talk about 80-20, it is just valorizing our own. And that's why I say our visions are each other. So me talking about the problematic, which is the lack of cultural identity amongst Africans, especially Cameroonians, especially Southern Cameroonians, and then he's proposing a solution of 80-20, like, you know what, if you can only value 80% of what you have, and then you say take 20 from foreign cultures, there's no how 80 will overshadow 20. We would still enjoy varieties. However, we would bask in our originality and our uniqueness. This is what this guy is saying, and nothing short of this. But he's been bashed on a regular. He's been insulted. He's been abused. Why? From those people who have so been rooted in this westernization that they think is modernization, and it is laughable for the most part. I can talk all day. I mean, I talk for a living, so you have to cut me. I don't have a problem with talking. I have a problem of stopping. So please cut me, I beg, before people sleeping in the media.
Okay, Deli, let me take some messages, please. Thank you for cutting yourself. Hi, Mr. Leo.
Sound, please. Sound.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Leo. Good evening. Please kindly extend my regards to this lady. Online, please kindly let me have her contact. Her educative talks is wonderful. I'm Dinga, writing from Bomenda. Good evening, Mr. Leo. This is Delhi is nailing it hard. More grace and courage to her. Mr. Ernest is writing from Limbe. Good evening again, Mr. Leo. I strongly was of the same school of thought with Madame Delhi, but no, not so grounded. Sincerely, I am much empowered today. My wife is so satisfied as well, and I believe this is the best aid match in my family. She's really changing minds, and I pray the woman, okay, women listening, women are listening seriously, okay, that's what you meant to write. Good evening, Mr. Kum, please, for the lady's number. This is Divine, writing from Baba 2. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Honestly, this great lady is really telling the truth about some ladies. Let ladies embrace the truth and make a change for a better tomorrow. Brave Bravo to her. Bernard, writing from Foncha resident at Foncha Street, Bamenda. Good evening, sir. I'm enjoying the program. It's Relindis from Quen. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm watching you from Gaundiri. I am happy to meet the voice of our olden mothers through this woman. Only men are appreciating her. I, Jamila, is so much happy with her advice. Thank you, Jamila. Best message for Women's Day. Big thanks to our sister Delhi. I'm indeed full with her message this day. We'll be happy to listen to her more often. Verilyn, writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thank you so much for bringing mommy to the show. I'm blessed. I've learned so much from her. Thank you so much, Ma. Please, how can I get to know more about purpose? Good evening, Mr. Kum. That lady is a motivational speaker. I have learned a lot from her this evening. I'm a leader in the craft sector in the Northwest region. I will need her contacts to build my capacity to be able to work stress-free in an organization where not more than 75% of members are women. Yaya International, writing from Bamenda. Please, Mr. Liu, I just want to make the woman or women to know their duties as women in house of God. Made us to understand the difference between a man and a woman through Adam and Eve, okay? Greetings, Mr. Kum. You have been a blessing to my generation. May God continue to enlarge your coast. Your guest is a woman of God. May God also continue to enlarge her area of impact that she may engulf women like my wife. Sir Franklin is writing from Kumba. Thank you very much, Franklin, and he meant to that. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I really enjoyed this particular lady. In fact, I have learned a lot from her. Thanks for empowering us. Linda Akum is writing from Bamenda. Yes, contrary to what many persons are saying, so many women are participating in today's edition of the program. What should be the hope? How do we tailor and direct our women to moving towards the thoughts that you just shared today? Because that is where our hope is. Without culture, without our tradition, we are no people. How do we move towards this direction, Delhi?
I mean, I thought I was going to be the wrong guest because usually when I speak, especially the women don't like listening to me.
Yeah, but so many women.
It's strange that they're listening. I mean, I'm happy that some of them are listening and actually contributing. Yeah, so yeah. What's the way forward? Like I said, I think I've given that already, Mr. Poo. Maybe you missed out on that. I have given that already. I literally listed it down because I was sure that was going to come out. But let me take it all over again. It's you discovering your purpose. It's you empowering yourself financially. Understand this. Let me step back and I say this. I said something at the beginning that not every woman is meant to be married. So let's not get this mixed up. Because when you talk about, this gibberish of, Delhi's talking about submission and that, if you cannot submit to a man, it is not a problem. Don't get married. Because if you truly get married without submission, you're going to end up in divorce. Don't stress yourself. Let's get it right. Now, God, when you talk about equality, you can be talking about equality at the level of as a spinster, because there's no equality in marriage. Let me also put that out there. There's no equality in marriage. All these 50-50, there's no 50-50 in marriage as well. The percentage is always 80-20, 60-40, because it alternates like that. This 50-50 thing is a sham, and it's a disaster. There's no equality in marriage. I put that again. Understand that you as a young woman, you don't need to get yourself entangled in this gibberish I'm saying. See, this is a matter of choice. Marriage is a conscious decision that you make and a choice that you make to get into. And nobody should force you into it. You could sit and be like, hey, this thing is too complicated. All of what she's saying might be true, but hey, I'm not caught up for that life. And hey, sweetheart, don't be caught up for this life. Don't get you into it. So stay there, discover your purpose, because you're meant to discover your purpose. Financially educate yourself, empower yourself, become self-aware, and all of these, stay feminine. And you can even be masculine for all we care, because there's nobody you're going to be dragging that with. But the problem is now is when you turn to be independent, strong woman, and the men now are your problem, you get to a position where you still have to secretly need these men, because there's no, see, God don't do ugly. And I always say this, God is not stupid. We will always need the men, and the men will always need us. Now, I've hardly heard men say they don't need women. I've really, matter of fact, they always say women are life, women are their this, they are their all. This the woman who has now thought, I think I can do it on my own. I think that's where our main problem is coming from. Trying to do things that God has asked us to partner and do, and we're trying to carry it upon ourselves. Even this thing of single moms, and I'm not insulting single moms, no, it is not supposed to be done. It's to be so. It's a dysfunctionality in the society that has brought about that. A man and a woman should be taking care of a child in a home. That's how it's supposed to be. That's God's original plan for mankind. Family setup, which is the most important. But no, now, independent, strong woman, I can do it on my own. Or these effeminated men who have now pushed women to the front, and I'm not leaving them out. Because when we talk about independent, strong women, the consequence of that is the effeminated men. When you start becoming this woman that doesn't need a man, the man you're supposed to be with, what happens to them? They start looking now for excuses. Now, when you be a woman that carries all this burden and the man takes the back seat, these are the problems we're having. We're not looking at those things. Now, when we come back to it, you don't have to be entangled in this nonsense that he's saying. You don't have to. It's a choice. What you can do is do it for yourself. Bible says we are complete in ourselves. So you as a person, you're complete. You don't need him to complete you. You don't need to issue. God made you and he said it's beautiful, and yes, rightfully so. So you can leave all of that. However, and I keep saying, I hope you will not be going at the background, because it is only the same these strong, independent woman, and there's my mentor always says there's no shout out to my mentor, because he mentors me quite well. All of what you guys hear, it is Reverend Song Yusimbom. That's my pastor, he's my mentor. That if you listen to him, you understand I've not started. So I just had to give him that shout out, because all of you guys are praising me. When you sit under his mentorship, then you understand that some of us have not started. And he always says that this independent, strong women thing is a lie. Because nobody is independent in this life. Not a man, not a woman. You are dependent on at least something. The tendency is when you lie to yourself, because it's a lie that you're strong and independent, because you can be strong but not independent. You must be dependent on something, whether a boss, whether something, just something. But the point is, when you check every other thing, you realize that they are trying to be independent from the men, and it's a lie. These same independent, strong women are the ones looking for people's husbands to snatch. And I say it, yes, on TV. They are still the ones behind looking for small boys to sleep with. They are still the ones, and this could be your life. See, don't get me wrong. But don't camouflage and be like, I don't need a man, or I can do it on my own. And at the end of the day, you are paying men to service you. This is the dysfunctionality I'm talking about. So at the end of the day, we have carved out another gender. Something that is not woman, is not man, is in between. I'm struggling to learn with that. But that is exactly what some women have done. But to understand that it is a lie, because you need a man. You do, and I say it or not, you need a man. A man needs you. A child needs you. A child needs the man. This is the right setup for children to grow in. And especially, let me just go now to the side of single women, single mothers, that okay, shit happened, and it happened, and it's okay. Everybody makes that error. But if it's up to you, let your children have their parents, their fathers. These are things to me that we should be talking on Women's Day. Let these, don't stop them from the fathers. Even if you're separated, you could be divorced. And yes, divorce is an option. Even if he was a deadbeat dad, he ran away, and he's coming back for the children. Because a deadbeat society is one where there's a deadbeat mom and a deadbeat dad and deadbeat children. This dysfunctional society is made up of one where the head, which is the man, is absent and everything is in chaos. That's why our society is dilapidated. So it's a lot of us angles I want to talk to, because we women are in different angles. Whether or not you're divorced, and I still insist, the man should have access to the children. You cannot use your children as a bait. You don't do that. You don't use your children as, oh, because I did not end up with him, he's married to another woman, oh, it means that he's not going to see my child. And then you start dragging. When you're dragging, who is at the middle? That child.
Okay, Deli,
of that child is powerful.
Deli, we are out of time. Let me just take these messages and then we call it quit. Hello, Mr. Leo. Thanks for such an educative program. I heartily embrace the speaker's ideology. Our culture represents our identity. If you then abandon yours to live another person's, who will then live yours? I'm impressed. Thank you, Madam. Tell us the woman. Okay, this is Mariana writing from Bamenda. Hello, good evening, Mr. Leo. I wish you and Miss Deli a fabulous evening on this special edition of the program. I'm so happy for that lady over there on the podium. I am wishing all the women a magnanimous Women's Day. In 1917, women in Russia chose to protest and strike under the slogan Bread and Peace. And last Sunday in February, which fell on March 8th on the Gregorian calendar, the movement ultimately led to the enactment of women's suffrage in Russia 9 hours ago, so as to say this day should be celebrated memorably with regards to the protest for peace and not for women to celebrate Jumbaism. Okay, Atasiri Oris, writing all the way from Ajaman Quarter, precisely in Bamenda Nkwe. Happy Women's Day once more. Greetings back home. I'm writing from Cape Town. 2-gun salute to Princess Deli. Princess Delia. Princess Delia, place day. Ani Ngwa. I see Cameroon's Minister of Culture in the days ahead. 2-gun salutes to Princess Deli. Okay. Hi, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm happy with the education she's giving us. I was really lost in many things. Now, I have an open mind on how to go about things now. Thank you, Mommy Deli. Your inspiration is the best. Please keep coming as many times as possible. I'm Eta Stephanie, writing from Bafusam. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I'm writing from Bamenda. I am a woman. I love this guest. She has wisdom. I pray the good Lord continue to use her. Okay. This one says, thank you very much, Mr. Liu. May God bless you with more wisdom and long life. Your program is so wonderful. Thank you. Hello. I'm Clotilde Ngum, writing from Kumba. I'm very impressed by this message. It's the best message I've heard in a very long time. We need to be proud of who we are. We women must know that we are because men are, and we each have roles to play, unique roles, okay? Beautiful woman with a beautiful message. May God continue to bless you all. Caleb is writing from Pomenda. I see the Minister of Culture in the days ahead. Madam, I like and even love the way you are exposing these things. Thank you very much. I wonder, there is no way a woman will now start measuring with a man. It's ridiculous, and vice versa. Each person has his or her place or role to play. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and the wonderful, dynamic, and eloquent woman of our time. May the Lord be your strength, Madam. How I wish someone somewhere hears these words of yours today, but unfortunately they are all busy in bars where they do Sulevi Lukaba. And of course, Mr. Liu, I'll plead on your indulgence to rebroadcast this program another day, that they are home if they really follow up and get real knowledge about this day. God bless you, Madam. Chika Divine is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying the program. It is a very educative program. Women should learn from this program. I am Tawe Titus, writing from Bomenda. This one says, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying the program. Please, for Princess Kelly's number. Has she a Facebook account? She's going to give you her Facebook account name, but you wanted her number. Okay, this one says, Okay, this one says, good evening, Mr. Kum, for the wonderful guest. I hope this is the right spelling. Princess Deli. Yes. Deli, why is everybody calling you Princess this evening? Is that a new title given to you? Good.
I have also.
Hi, good evening. I just want to say I love the program. Stephanie is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Stephanie. Good evening, sir. I am Victory from Bamenda, and I wish to say thank you for bringing this anointed woman tonight. I wish some of us gave listening ears to time of advice before running into marriage, just to find ourselves out tomorrow and shattered. Being financially independent, finding a man you can submit to. Thanks, sir and ma. God bless you both. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I am really enjoying the program with my wife. Special salutes to your guest. Nelson is writing from Yaoundé. Deli, we are out of time. Thank you for coming.
I should be thanking. I mean, it's been a plethora of messages coming in. I am honored, to say the least, man. And I want to thank each and every one of you who stayed true to the end. Please do not forget to take a screenshot of this, or a video, a short clip, a picture, and post and tag me on social media. My handles are Deli Singah official. That's my official page. I have a counseling page, Deli Matchups and Relationship Counseling, okay, on counseling services. I have Deli TV. I wear a lot of hats, okay. God has blessed me with a lot of riverheads, Christians who understand that. So it's a lot of things I do. However, I'm particularly, I love when I talk on relationship, because I know that it goes a long way to build the society, and every one of these things, they come after, you know, I mean, relationships precedes every one of these things. Okay. I want to salute every woman out there who is also doing their best to propagate this message, to push this narrative out there. I want to salute all of you who listen to me. Those of you who've learned something, and if I've said anything that you really don't like, please just discard it, okay? And just take the ones that minister to you. I'm looking forward to coming here again and talk more. And thank you again, my Media Prime TV. Thank you all. Please follow me on social media, Deli Singah Official. Hey, let's get the numbers up again, okay? I want to salute, please, before I go, special thanks to my boss. I am brand ambassador of ICT University, and I want to use this opportunity to salute Professor Victor Mbarika, who has, of course, in the light of innovation and technology, given a safe environment for women to thrive. He has done that, and he's doing that marvelously, and he has put up an institution in Cameroon, which is Information and Communication Technology University, which I'm privileged and proud to be a brand ambassador of it. University based in Yaoundé. I salute you, Mr. Professor Victor Mbarika. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for making a safe environment for women and men to thrive in IT. And yes, again, to all of you, my lovely, delicious, I love you all so much. And it's goodbye. Happy Women's Day from my end, and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you very much, Deli, and to the production team, the Eli and Desmond, and to you, Tabitha Bryant, for supervision. Celebrate responsibly. Happy Women's Day to all of you. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
La petite antélope casse-pied qui finit par donner du sourire. Elle répare, installe et fabrique des produits à composants électroniques, instruments de mesure, systèmes de navigation, appareils audio-vidéo, appareils de cuisine, automobile, aéronautique, défense, domotique et bien d'autres. Cette professionnelle est omniprésente dans l'industrie. Wilfried Diabiam, elle s'appelle.
Je suis Diabiam Wilfried, électronicienne de formation. Je suis en incubation ici à l'Agence universitaire de technologie pour l'innovation depuis quelques années déjà. Ici, nous fabriquons plusieurs machines, parmi lesquelles on peut citer les couveuses néonatales pour bébés, les séchoirs électriques, les incubateurs à œufs, les portiques de désinfection, les fumigateurs.
Dans sa trousse à outils, il y a de tout, car son histoire avec la bricole électronique date de plusieurs années. Il lui a fallu se surpasser pour acquérir des notions en informatique pour devenir la femme indépendante d'aujourd'hui.
Avant l'accompagnement de Beaufort Light, le distributeur étant un nouveau projet, il y a certaines options qu'on apporte au fur et à mesure. Donc chaque fois que j'avais une idée, j'apportais au niveau de mon patron et puis il m'accompagnait, que ce soit côté financement et que ce soit dans les idées, dans la possibilité, dans la faisabilité aussi. Et c'est ainsi que je progressais au fur et à mesure.
La motivation de la récipiendaire du projet Femmes autonomes et fières de Beaufort Light des boissons du Cameroun est partie du fait qu'elle a toujours aspiré à une indépendance financière et être son propre patron.
Avec le soutien que Beaufort Light m'a apporté, j'ai pu produire un nouveau modèle de distributeur, comme vous pouvez le constater. Ce n'est pas avec celui-ci que j'avais présenté le challenge. J'ai pu produire ce nouveau modèle. À ça, j'ai ajouté plusieurs fonctionnalités. Il n'y avait pas l'option de distribution de boissons chaudes. Ici, je l'ai apporté. Et au niveau de la coque, j'avais les clients qui me disaient toujours, qui m'abordaient toujours et me demandaient pourquoi avoir choisi la pomme au niveau de distribution de la boisson, que ça renvoyait toujours à la marque Apple. Pourquoi toujours aller vers l'extérieur? Pourtant, à la base, j'ai choisi juste un fruit. Je n'avais pas idée de ce que ça pouvait produire après.
Je travaille à l'AUI, ça fait aujourd'hui 1 an. Bon, notre sœur Wilfried est venue avec ce projet. C'est vrai qu'au départ, je ne croyais pas. Mais dès que j'ai étudié le projet, j'ai vu que c'était faisable. Et on a pris la peine vraiment de l'aider pour pouvoir vraiment constituer un truc comme vous voyez là.
Selon elle, tant que l'idée pensée n'est pas implémentée, c'est un non-lieu. Cependant, il ne suffit pas seulement de faire valoir son savoir-faire, mais il est aussi question de le commercialiser. Et c'est là l'une des difficultés que rencontre Wilfried, par faute d'une politique marketing et de communication.
Pour l'avenir, nous souhaitons avoir un groupe de femmes avec laquelle on aura toute une chaîne de production. Donc une chaîne de production qui nous permettra de quitter du fruit au produit fini qui est la boisson naturelle. Je pense qu'ainsi, on pourra réduire les pertes post-récolte et aussi rendre plusieurs autres femmes autonomes.
Avec de l'ancienneté et de l'expérience, mais aussi et surtout le soutien de Beaufort Light, des boissons du Cameroun, Wilfried rêve d'accéder à des responsabilités d'encadrement d'équipe et de conduite de projet pour l'avenir.
Je remercie les boissons du Cameroun par sa marque Beaufort Light pour cet accompagnement offert aux femmes et je les encourage de continuer davantage car plusieurs femmes en ont vraiment besoin pour le futur.